Hello and welcome back to the Lincoln Loco 2. Today we have got Brighton and Hove Albion in the Premier League before we have the toughest challenge we've had in the entire Lincoln Loco 2 series. We are going all the way to Madrid, we're playing in the Bernabeu, and we are taking on Real Madrid. Thank you for all the messages and all the comments in the previous video and stuff saying hope your throat feels better today and things like that. If you don't know, my throat's been a bit sore the past few days and it's you can probably tell from how I'm talking right now. I probably sound a little bit different to usual. I feel like it's getting a bit better. It's not really got any worse, so hopefully it'll just sort of pass by the weekend. I'll keep drinking lots, not trying to talk apart from when I record sort of thing, so I think it should get better pretty quickly. Of course, famous last words, it'll probably get really bad now I've said that. Anyway, since you were last here, we've only played one game, and that was the Carabao Cup third round game against Plymouth, which is an interesting one. We won that 2-0 with Chris Hart and Bizu scoring a penalty in the first half. Pretty decent stuff. I was very pleased with that one. That comes after, of course, last episode beating Prague 4-0 and drawing 1-1 with Liverpool. Today, Brighton is meant to be a fan day, apparently, so we should see the stadium sell out. Although, our stadium is what? It's 26,000. I feel like we sell out most weeks anyway. So this game against Plymouth, that's obviously an anomaly because that's a cup game, but Slavia Prague, 25,500, only just missing out on 600 tickets, which is probably the away allocation to be fair. Derby, a sellout. Newcastle, a sellout. United, a sellout. I don't understand why we're doing a fan day, but we're doing one apparently. Brighton though are 18th in the table, which isn't too bad. We still stay third, obviously. I don't think any league games have really been played apart from Tottenham, who played their game the early kickoff this weekend. So no real change for the table from last episode, but we are top of our Champions League group, of course, after beating Prague 4-0, which was superb. Heading into today's game then, I have tried to rotate the side just a little bit because I want to try and save our best players for this game against Real Madrid. So Solinka starts in goal as per usual, but Luis Gustavo moves to left back because Doherty is really looking very tired now, and Jimenez still not anywhere near coming. Well, he's 5 days away, but not coming back in time, obviously, to make a difference and rotate the squad. So Jimenez is out. Doherty comes out to sort of rest himself up for the Madrid game, which means Gustavo is going to come back in that position, and it means that we're actually going to hand a debut to a youth player of ours who is called Steve Barnett. He's a youth player of ours, came through our academy, has got 3.5-star potential. It's not really the best, but 2-star current ability. Currently operating at League 1 level, shouldn't be playing obviously, but considering that we've got to sort of rotate things around a little bit and he's our only other recognised left winger, he's getting a debut today. So well done Steve Barnett for that. I think actually our first ever youth player after, what was he called? Gary something, wasn't he? Like in our first season he was quite good, but he's only ever region that's sort of broken into the first team a little bit. So Barnett, well done. That's an achievement. Moving along the rest of the back line, though, Smith is staying in the centre-back position with Juliano, who's just come back from an injury, lining up alongside him to make sure that Nesvich and Payne are fully rested up for the game against Real Madrid. Klaassen stays at right-back, though, doing a superb job. Palmer and Agnew come into the midfield, although Agnew will be swapped at some point, so he's rested up for the next game. And then Pomeroy's coming in for that attacking midfielder position to replace Chris Hart, who's also looking a little bit tired in 91% condition. Chisa stays on the right, and Bizu, with 2 goals to his name this season, is now leading the line. So then kickoff is upon us here today at home. Slightly rotated lineup, but I think we should be able to get the job done here against Brighton, who are in the relegation places, which is quite good. Now we need to talk about Bizu quickly, because in the last episode we were talking sort of about how he's just not hit the ground running this season. After scoring 35 goals in all competitions last season, he's only managed to get 2 this season, and at least one of those are the penalty. The other one might have been a penalty as well, I can't quite remember. But someone said in the comment section, maybe he just doesn't like other strikers at the club. And actually, it kind of makes sense as David Palmer is injured and we wanted to rest Andreas this game. So that's why I put Palmer in. And Palmer's actually only just come back from an injury. So that's really frustrating. So Andreas is going to come back on for him, obviously. That is what we're going to have to do there, unfortunately, for us. As I was saying, though, about Bizu, the first season he had with us, he actually ended up top goal scorer, but only scored more than half his goals in the final 2 games of the season or something ridiculous like that. So his first season, when we had Marquez as a striker, he didn't like it, and Marquez was used often. The second season, where he scored his 35 goals, he was pretty much the only striker at the club. We've got Pomeroy, obviously, but he's nowhere near as good. And Bizu was given the reins and the responsibility, and he liked that maybe. Perhaps that's what it is in this season, now being back up to Peter Pelican, or definitely back up now that Pelican's scoring the goals and Bizu can't. Perhaps he's just not quite enjoying it so much, and that could be something. Interestingly, the Brighton player also got injured in the 11th minute, so I presume they just sort of banged legs with each other. And maybe they've broken each other's legs in some sort of weird tackle. Either way, another highlight coming towards us. This time, Agnew on the ball, playing it in towards Andreas, and Chisa back on it now. He shoots from distance, but putting his shot just over the bar. And again, another chance for us, this time a corner, which Bizu gets on the end of, and at the second time of asking, after his initial header saved by the goalkeeper, he does put it in the back of a net. Chiesa probably quite annoyed he's not getting the assist for that, because obviously Bizu couldn't put it away first time. But at least we are now 1-0 up there as Bizu, the second shot actually came off the goalkeeper, so you could argue perhaps it could be an own goal there, as it sort of changes its course massively. But at least we do grab the goal there. We go 1-0 up and move provisionally into second place, because West Ham, how are they getting on? They're currently drawing with Leicester 1-1. Another chance for us as Pomeroy puts another ball into the area, cleared, but only as far as Chiesa, who's looking to get a goal or something today. He's played well, but can't do it there either. So heading into the break, 1-0 up. I'm pretty pleased with that, especially with quite a rotated side. We have got to make 2 changes at some point, though, in the second half. I want to take Gustavo off, because I think he needs a little bit of a rest before the next game as well. And the same with Agni as well. But looking down here, yeah, to be fair, maybe just those 2. I mean, Klaasen's looking a little bit tired. We can bring Kooks on for him maybe, but I think Klaasen should be okay. Chiesa is like a warrior. He always just goes through every single game, never really needs substituting. He's got really good stamina as Bizu puts his header on the crossbar from that particular corner. I think we'll make those changes now, actually. Although Gustavo, how is he looking? Gustavo, 76, yes. Let's take him off and we'll bring on Doherty for a little while, who should sort of last the rest of the game fairly comfortably. And then who else? Agni. Want to take him off for Luizu, of course, to sort of rest the midfield a little bit. So they're the 2 changes that will make 3 in total in today's game, as David Smith gets on the ball on the edge of the area, out to Andreas. Shot, though, has been blocked. To be fair, I will take a 1-0 win here today, as Barnett nearly scores on his debut, putting that cross onto the crossbar, which is quite frustrating for him. He could have had a great goal on his day. He's played quite well today, actually. I say that. He's on a 6.5, which is the lowest rating out of everyone in the squad, so maybe not playing quite so well. But he's on the winning team, so he's doing something right at least, and they've not scored down the left-hand side of the pitch where he is playing, so they're doing something right as Bizu gets another goal. This time, it does actually go down as an own goal. I think the keeper pushed it onto the post and it bounces back off him. So Bizu will celebrate, but it's an own goal there for the Brighton keeper. As we watch the replay, Doherty puts the ball in. Bizu with the header, which actually hits the post first, and then the goalkeeper just sort of walks in the way of it and it bounces off his back. A weird one. Hopefully goalkeepers are going to be improved in FM20. I'd like to see goalkeepers improved in FM20, which of course if you've not bought yet, you can get it for very, very cheap. Link in the description to take you to 2 games who I've teamed up with. Use promo code TomFM at the checkout for an extra 10% off, and you get the whole game for less than £30 with access to the beta and everything good like that. Always got to keep plugging away. Got to keep plugging away at those kind of things. There's also a link to the Patreon down there as well if you've not checked the Patreon out yet. Plenty of interesting stuff in there, so have a look at that one as well. But now we've got a few days off before we take on Real Madrid in the Champions League, which is quite frankly just like a ridiculous statement to make. Palmer out for 3 weeks with a pulled calf muscle. Annoying because he'd just come back from another injury as well. Bizu injured for 1 to 3 days, not too much of an issue. Reaction to the fan day. Was it a good fan day? Early reactions indicate a great success, and the board are expecting to see an increase in long-term attendances. But we don't need the increase in attendances because we've already got selling out, so what's the point? So after all the weekend's fixtures, we do actually move to second in the end, a point ahead of West Ham and only 2 points behind Tottenham. So already early indications show that we could be in for another title race this season. However, I don't think we're going to be there come the end of the season if we do well in European competitions. Of course, Vinicius Jr., who used to play for us, of course, played for Real Madrid at one point. He's pointing out this guy, Mamadou Samaro, as the elite striker who is one to watch out for. And apparently it's widely considered that United are going to be... Real Madrid, sorry, are going to be too strong for Lincoln United. I thought I was going to say United were too strong for Real Madrid then. I was going to be very concerned about that. But apparently we can get something out of the game if we manage to stop this particular striker. But that's good of Vinicius Jr. I did think about getting him back as a coach, but as you can see, this is his director of football stats, which are actually awful. But even his coaching stats, they are slightly worse. So he never came back as a coach. What a playing career, may I add. Flamenco, Real Madrid, Manchester United, Fenerbahce, Lincoln United. But we are now here at the Real Madrid game, which is absolutely mental, really, when you think about it. Absolutely mental. Right. Palmer is injured, which is frustrating. And I forgot Andreas was suspended, which again is quite detrimental, actually. So Luiz is going to have to come on in that box-to-box midfielder role. Can these two swap over? They kind of actually like that a little bit better. So we'll swap those two. I just spat on myself. That was a bit gross. Anyway, moving back on with the rest of the team. Doherty need to come back on for Luis Gustavo, who's going to come back on the pitch for Barnett. Hart comes in for Pomeroy. And then we're going to bring Pelican on for Bizu. At the back, we are definitely bringing Nesvich back on for Juliana, who is a little bit injured, not playing the best. But I kind of want to keep David Smith on the pitch for now. Juliana will probably regain his place pretty soon. But actually, I reckon David Smith's probably better than Les Payne. What it means is we have to bring Palmer off and Andreas off. So the only players we can really bring on are players who aren't injured. So the substitute bench is kind of pretty much made up of very tired players and players just coming back from an injury. Hopefully, though, our starting 11 is going to be enough to see us through today's game against Real Madrid, but we're going to be so tired for the weekend game against Wolverhampton Wanderers, so we need to sort things out. We need to make a few signings in January, but we've only got £11 million to do that. It's not looking great this season in terms of squad depth at all. Kicking off, though, it's very, very exciting to be here in Madrid, playing in a competitive game against Real Madrid. It's mental that we're even here. Obviously, last episode, we had the easiest game of the group stage. We had Prague at home. Today, this is the most difficult game of the group stage. Real Madrid away from home, which is pretty crazy, to be fair. Anyway, we look like we're having the upper hand in this opening highlight as Agnew coming forward, plays it into Luis Gustavo. Gustavo to put the cross in, cleared, but only as far as Doherty, Luizu, Hart on the ball, tackled, but Luis Gustavo regains possession, out to Klaassen. Klaassen shoots and scores within 3 minutes of today's game. And I can tell you this, without lying, Real Madrid 0, Lincoln United 1. Which is absolutely mental. Kamara there should have been sent off or something like that for that challenge. But anyway, it doesn't matter in the end, I suppose, because Klaassen, who's only got that's his second goal of the season, is not really renowned for scoring goals at all, but has finally got himself under the mark in the Champions League. And it's against Real Madrid and Nesvich now with a free kick. Oh, I thought that could have been a goal for our defenders. He hits the crossbar in that one. The keeper probably would have had it covered anyway, I think, because it was pretty central. But great opening 10 minutes for us against Real Madrid. I reckon if we win today's game, we are definitely progressing through our group. I know it's very early to say, but if we can beat Real Madrid away from home, I've got utmost confidence that we'll be able to beat Schalke, Slavia Prague again, and then maybe get a result against Real Madrid once again. If we can do it today, I reckon it puts us in very good stead for the Champions League. The rest of this first half, though, is looking particularly quiet, which actually I'm very happy with because I don't want to see any more. I want to see us win 1-0. I don't want any more highlights, but we do have a highlight now, and Pelican's been put forward. Should have squared it really across to the awaiting Luis Gustavo, but unfortunately decides not to do that. Solinkia with a goal kick, playing it short to Nesvich this time, who puts it up towards the goal scorer Klaassen. Now coming forward, Klaassen into Chisa. Chisa can find a ball forward, can he? He does get the ball to Luis Gustavo. Tackled. It's a penalty for us, which Klaassen is taking. Because, I mean, technically he's actually got the best penalty stat there. I think I've probably got a bit more faith in Pelican, if I'm honest with you. So we'll put Pelican on it, because I just feel like I want to see him get on the score sheet today against Real Madrid. If Klaassen was on his hat-trick, then definitely... he could be on a hat-trick later on, though. You never know. Pelican doesn't miss. He puts it in the bottom corner. And his 9th goal of the season means we are 2-0 up just before half-time, away from home against Real Madrid. I did not expect to be saying that in today's episode. And there is potential for another goal before half-time as well, as Real Madrid coming forward but not really going... Well, I say not really going anywhere. They've just got it centred and their player puts it just wide of the post. But that's the first chance I think we've seen all game from Madrid, actually. And so what it does mean is we do go into half-time 2-0 up, but Agnes just picked up a knock, which is concerning. So we may have to make some substitutes later on in the... If he gets injured for a while, that's quite bad for our midfield, to be fair, because we are sort of low on numbers there anyway without injuries. So we'll keep an eye on Agnew for the next 10 minutes. He's sort of flirting between 70% and 69%. That's probably not the best words to use, is it? Flirting between those numbers. But I've said it now. I've said it now, haven't I? Anyway, he's doing okay. We're doing okay still. I think we'll leave him on for now, but we probably will take him off very, very shortly. As Hart plays it back, crosses into Luis Gustavo. It's somehow saved, but at the second time of asking, Peter Pelican makes it 3-0 to Lincoln United against Real Madrid. away from home. How are we doing this? It's just the magic of this Lincoln United squad. I mean, Gustavo's very unlucky not to score there in the first instance, but Pelican has a routine job of putting it in the back of her net. We will make some changes now. Agnew to come off the pitch, and Brad Parker is another youth player, is about to make his... He's 16 years old, bless him. He's 16 years old, never played a game, first team game, and he's about to be brought on in the Champions League against Real Madrid because he's the only other centre midfielder that we've got available who's fit. Fair play, lad. Congratulations. Great way to make your debut. Klaassen is looking tired, so we're going to bring Kooks on for him. He's played very well in today's game, though, so deserves the round of applause when he comes off the pitch. There are two changes that we'll make, though. Hopefully, it won't be detrimental in the final 25 minutes or so of today's game. I mean, imagine this. Brad Parker, he's 16 years old. He's got to go to school tomorrow to go and tell his mates, lads, I played against Real Madrid last night. I mean, imagine that. It's like the other night in the Rochdale player. He was 16 years old and scored away at Old Trafford, didn't he? Like, he must have gone to school the next day and literally have just been worshipped. It looks like, though, we are going to get a historic win here today. A 3-0 win against Real. I just can't quite explain how this has happened. But we have picked up a 3-0 win here today. There's 30 seconds left on the clock, but I can't see them scoring 4 goals in that time. This is not going to be a repeat of the Valencia debacle at all, so don't you worry about that as the clock ticks down in what is... I mean, to be fair, it's not like we've been miles the better side here. Stats are very... I mean, we have been slightly better, but stats are very, very even. And yet we've come away from the Bernabeu with a 3-0 win in the Champions League. I don't think you can underestimate how big of a victory this is. That is probably... That could be one of the biggest results we've ever had as Lincoln United. So Agnew is out for 5 to 8 days, so it's not too bad his injury. That's okay. Parker makes his professional debut, as I was saying. He's labelled to be the next Ian Richardson, who is a regen, which is why I don't know that name and don't really understand the comparison. Oh, you love to see that. He's just played against Real Madrid and he's been paid £110 this week. He's on his youth deal, obviously. That's crazy. Whereas I'm sure the Real Madrid players will be on £200,000, £300,000 a week. I love Parker. I wish we could have a season just about him, a series just about him. It's a shame he's come along too late to enjoy it. Anyway, to end that fantastic episode, we need to look at what we're going to do next time around. I think we're going to jump forward a little bit further and we're going to go for Schalke and West Ham United in the Champions League. Of course, we play Schalke then, but we're going to go for the home leg of the Schalke game, just so we can sort of progress things a little bit now as well. So, look forward to that one next episode. Thank you very much for watching today, and I hope you've enjoyed it, especially our 3-0 win against Real Madrid, which was mental. So I'll see you tomorrow for some more Lincoln Loco action.